Okay, so this is the beginning of my Sprint 3 video. I'm actually going to I'm just going to go ahead and start my project and let my guy run for a bit so he gets to the bottom while I'm talking. So, from Sprint 2, feedback. So, Scorpion, I have not done the peak with the Scorpion yet. I wanted to make sure I could get it with the Centipede first. I think I got it with Centipede, and I just didn't have time to go back to the Scorpion, so I will do that next week. Basically, all of this is the same thing. Somehow I got it in my head that the Scorpion and the Spider kind of have a drop rate like the Flea does, so like they don't poison every single mushroom they encounter, only some of them at a certain rate, or the Spider doesn't eat every single mushroom, only at a certain rate, which is just wrong. So anyways, I fixed that. That was a super easy fix. Now the Spider eats every single mushroom he runs into, and oops, that was a Flea. One key is the Scorpion, and he poisons all of the mushrooms that he runs into. So that was just an easy fix. I just had to get rid of a check. So that's what all of this was. That was also this. The shroom health was not working when poisoned. So basically, when I used to shoot a poisoned mushroom, it wouldn't do the health right. That's just because I had the animation not set all the way. I set the animation to include the sprites for the poison health. So now the poison mushrooms use the right sprites. And that was everything from Sprint 2. So for Sprint 3 this week, okay, strategy pattern for the Flea. I am honestly still confused about this. This strategy pattern, I think I only understand it in the context of the blaster, so I'm going to ask about the Flea and what that should look like. So I don't have that. I do have one factory going. It's the factory for the bullet. So, sorry, I'm trying to pull up my output. So to be fair, the bullet factory is a bit trivial because there's only ever one bullet alive, but it still, has the bullet pull. It only ever has one bullet alive, and it's just recycling that bullet. And I did test it with, if I let myself use more than one bullet, it, would create a maximum of, I think I could get 50 bullets, but then it would, keep recycling and not creating new bullets. So I think my factory is working right. I only have that one right now, but should be easy to implement the other ones. So third critter, I had the Scorpion and the Spider last week. This week I have the Flea, so I have a basic Flea spawner that when you press the Flea key, which is number 3, a Flea spawns at you get a random column from the mushroom field for it to spawn at. And so the Flea only checks whether to drop a mushroom once per cell. So basically, frames to move one cell. Right now my Fleas move at a speed of 8 pixels per frame. My cells are 32 pixels, so it takes 4 frames for them to move from one to another. So anyway, frames to move one cell is 4. So basically this is a counter up to 4. When you're counting, you don't have to check for a mushroom. You're just moving from one cell to another. So you're adding, your speed is 8 currently. And then once you reach a new cell, the middle of a new cell, you check to place mushroom, and all that's doing is going to the mushroom field. It's checking if a mushroom is already there. This check function is very simple. It just references, get a mushroom. Is there a mushroom here? If there's not a mushroom here, then, the logic here is that if it's not null, then there is a mushroom. If it is null, then there's not a mushroom. Go back to the Flea. So basically we're checking if there's already a mushroom there, just keep going. If there isn't a mushroom there, let's do this drop check, which is just this random, true or false Boolean for the drop, based on the drop rate, and let's place a mushroom there. So 3 is my Flea key, and it drops mushrooms accordingly. Okay. So at a random rate and at random positions. That is it for the flea. The next thing is, I think, yeah, just the centipede head. So if I go back to my code, centipede head spawner, when I press the 4 key, a centipede head spawns. Okay, so right now, I don't have the FSM implemented. It's all still in the centipede head, but I tried to take some of the stuff from FSM that we talked about and put it in here. So right now, every single centipede head that I create is creating its own 8 arrays, which isn't good. I basically just need one, but it's what I'm doing right now, or one set of 8 arrays, because they're going to be the same. Anyway, and then the frames to move one cell, right now all of my centipedes go at a speed of 2 pixels per frame, so it takes them, 4 pixels per frame. So my cells are 32, it takes them 8 frames to move to the right, or, to move from cell to cell. So basically I'm creating 8 arrays, and each array has 8 vectors in it, which holds the offsets for all of these. So in my constructor, I'm making all the offsets right. So if I'm moving right, then, using my speed, which is 4, I want my offsets to be 4, 0, 8, 0, 12, 0, etc. So that's what that's doing here in this loop. And then I'm setting all of them to the right offsets. And then in my update, it's kind of the same as the flea. So I'm just moving. I'm basically counting up to 8 and just moving by the correct offsets. And then once I reach that new cell, the middle of that new cell, I get the next to move. So this get next to move function is just a giant if, else if, else if, else if logic, and it's just the logic of the FSM. So if I'm in this state, moving right down, this is the row I'm going to check, this is the column I'm going to check. I'm going to inspect that in the mushroom field, so this inspect function is right here. It uses the obstacle struct that was discussed in class. It gets the mushroom there, checks if there's a mushroom there, or if we're on the left or right column, and returns the corresponding, is it a block or not? And obviously I don't have poison implemented yet. So back to centipede head. And then, let's say we're moving right, we inspect, it's clear. Then I call this move right down function. All that does is it sets the state correctly. It updates our row or column, depending on how we're moving. It makes sure that our current move offsets are equal to the correct offsets array out of those 8. And we reset the index to 0. And then all of the different functions, change the right row and set the right array. And all of these else ifs do the correct logic, checking the, are we at the top player row, blah, blah, blah. It's all the logic that we went over in the FSM. So I think that just about does it. My guy works, I wanted to just, test that he turned back around, and he only goes to the top of the player area. So let me just let him go one more, and then we'll see him turn back down. And then if I shoot him, then he turns into a mushroom, or he drops a mushroom, whatever. I also wanted to show that if I get rid of a mushroom that he's going to run into, that he does, in fact, I'm trying to find one that he's going to run into. This one. He does go through it, and then I hit him. So yeah, the mushrooms are successfully deleted, and he goes through a mushroom if it has been deleted. So I think that's everything for my sprint 3.